What's up, guys? My name is Devin Ortega. I'm joined here with
Jacob Roden.
And Jaden Stevens.
and as you guys see today, we got a special guest, Daniel Pantoja. He was on Forged in Fire. He's makes blacksmith. He makes weapons. He makes all sorts of things. He's a cool guy. You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh yeah, I make a lot of stuff. I just started making leather stuff. Actually, I ran a little bit late today because I was making some leather crafting knives. But yeah, all around, whatever piques my interest, I'm gonna do it. I think this holiday season I'm gonna start making jewelry just for fun. We'll see what that's like.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Are you planning on like trying to sell that jewelry?
No, so
Oh.
actually, like the knives, I did like 5 years of test trials. I didn't sell one.
Really?
I gave away knives like crazy. They were all ugly though. So with the jewelry, I'll probably do the same thing. I'll probably like test them out. If they come out okay, I'll give some gifts out, and then eventually maybe sell some.
I see.
That's awesome.
I mean, you're perfecting the work.
Yeah, I mean, I just do it as a hobby. So
Uh,
the trial and error is part of the fun for me. So I'll just
Mhm.
get it right at first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool to see people that like they're really good at something and then they say, "Oh, they just do it for a hobby." It's like you're super good at something and like you could go like super far, but it's just it's super cool to see people be super good at something and like it's like not even their main thing. Like for an example, like when you went on the show, I noticed that you said you're doing it for your wife and for your son. That's super cool to me because all those other guys came on, they said their stuff on the reason why they're doing it, and then you came on, you're like, yeah, I'm doing it to show my wife and my son about like I think he's
Anything is possible.
yeah, anything is possible, and
the
that just
love of the
that,
game.
that hit me, and I was like, dang, so this guy's actually like he's doing it not because he wants to just look cool, but like he's doing it because he loves it and he wants to, you know, show his wife and son that anything is possible. So yeah.
Especially with that being
Yeah.
like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say when I started, my son was little. He was like maybe in grade school, and I just did it. Some of it was to impress him, and he's older now. He's probably your guys' age now. And when I went on the show, he was maybe like high school age, and I wanted to see like, hey, you set a goal, even if it's a big goal, you can achieve it. It takes that getting on that show wasn't easy. It took a lot of convincing the casting directors
Mhm.
because I was a little bit like I think I was underskilled, but I had a lot of passion for it. Like I tried really really hard to practice for that show. So I was just like, if I can show my son that you can make a goal happen, then I wanted to make that happen for him.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my questions, kind of getting into it, is how did you feel going into the Forge and Fire? Because that's like basically the NFL of forging. That's like a really big deal. So how did you feel going into it? Probably nervous, and how did you deal with that nervousness?
Well, at first I felt like I wish I was a little more polished because I've met people that are very good that tried out and didn't make it. But I'm telling you, it took a lot of convincing. I mean, I really, really had to convince the casting directors. It took a few tries, and finally, I was just like, I think I sold myself on camera with them, and
Nice.
but I didn't have the exact skills for it. But I would love to go back on a redemption arc over there.
Or
I don't know if they do
going.
that, but I'd like to go back.
Is
You
that
should.
is that
But
possible? Are you allowed to like retry and go for it again, or is it like a
uh,
policy where you can't do twice?
well, they have different casting directors now. I actually got pretty friendly with the old casting directors.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if it was them, I think I could, but
Yeah.
I'd have to restart the process again, which I might. I mean, I don't.
It'd be super cool to see you go on again.
Redemption arc.
Oh,
Like you
Yeah.
I would
said.
love that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were on there, you ended up getting railroad spikes and mini cubes, which you said you were not very familiar with, and it was going to be hard to work with. So I think if you were to, maybe get some better options, that you might have had a different result.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, since I forgot what year that was, but since that year, it was like COVID time, so let's call it 2022, 2021.
Yeah,
Mhm.
probably around there.
Since then, I've been working nothing but 1095, which was what the cubes are made out of. So that's
Okay.
like even today. Today I made two knives. I made them out of 1095 because I want to perfect that metal. I want to get it down.
Yeah. That's crazy. You were faced with like all that adversity. One, you've never really worked that metal before. Two, when it kind of like split, and you had to make a quick decision right there if you were gonna continue or I don't know, try and fix it, and you had like that ultimatum where you had to make that quick decision. I mean, how like nervous were you in that?
You, I was more like I think there's a breaking point. Everybody has a breaking point.
Right.
And when it split, I knew that cameras were on, right? Like you just knew it. But the guy next to me, his material broke more, way more than me. But it just so happens that that guy, as a trade, is a welder, so he fixed his project. If I would have, oh, and by the way, I've never welded MIG before. So like a week prior, I bought myself a really cheap MIG welder on Amazon, and I taught myself how to MIG weld. So when I was MIG welding on the show, I looked over at the guy and I was like, "Oh, that guy knows what he's doing." I wish I would, if I would have known how to weld a little bit better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, one of my questions was before the show, did you try to forge things that you wouldn't normally forge just to get ready for the show? Like training for the show, like what kind of things did you forge just to be like, "Oh, just in case I have to do this, I know how to do it."
I did all kinds of stuff. So for me, I think it's really pretty to make a mono steel blade. It's just a very low fail rate, so I can finish a project and I could deliver people, customers' expectations. But I did like Sanmai, I did Damascus, I made swords, I made a spear, I made like machetes, all kinds of stuff. And it's
All right.
stuff that I have. It's just collecting dust. And
Yeah.
I made a rapier. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I did all kinds of stuff. But more than anything, I practiced timelines because they give you very little bit of time.
Yeah, you had
So
what, like
I try
3
to hustle
hours?
and yeah, sometimes less. Yep.
It's
Dang.
crazy.
I was gonna ask, have you went on like other than the Forge and Fire show, like have you went to any like contests around your town, or have you done any other contests than just the Forge and Fire to show your skills?
Oh no, actually, since that the show aired, I've had customer after customer. So like it's just like a quick turnaround. So I always kind of wanted to have enough knives to set up a booth somewhere,
Mhm.
but I have never had enough time. I'd have to like probably stop taking customers for like 3 4 months.
Oh,
But I really like the way I set up. My setup's real easy. Like as soon as I'm done with one, I'll take another customer, and it just I do it when I feel the desire to do it. I don't feel like I don't rush them out because then I don't feel like I'm gonna put a good product out.
right.
So I just take one customer at a time. I'm really making sure that each customer is happy with their knife because it's a knife specially made for them.
Mhm.
And I think I'm just gonna stick to that business model until I don't have any more customers. Then I'll just make stuff for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good way to go about it.
Is this like a like full-time job now that you're doing?
No,
Or
it's
no?
not. Actually, my main job, I'm a school bus driver.
Oh,
Oh,
So
really?
really?
yeah,
That's
so the knives
super
are just
cool.
on the side. Yeah.
That's super cool. I had there was a bus driver, school bus driver last year, and she was super cool. Because I did ag mechanics, so I actually got to learn how to weld and like do oxyacetylene, all that stuff.
Just got the stick at the end.
Yeah, I got to do a little bit of stick. I wasn't too good at stick. It's just like I wasn't good at being consistent with it. Like sometimes I would try to pull away too quickly and it'd be really spotty, and so it's just I wasn't the best at welding. But still, that class was like super cool and stuff. But yeah, the bus driver was super cool. The one that would take us back to school. Her name was Christina. Shout out to
Oh,
or
that's
no,
awesome, man.
Christine. Yeah, Christine. But yeah. So yeah, I did the ag
Well, you know
mechanics
what?
class.
Welding is gonna come in handy your whole life. I mean, there's always something that
Yeah.
comes up my way that I'm learning how to weld, just teaching myself, but I'm actually really liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it going for you? I mean, you're being like
Uh,
self-taught.
yeah. I mean, the stick welding is what I think I'm better at. I think I have to invest in a better MIG machine, but I don't. I do very small projects. Like I mostly like weld things to the knife handle, and that takes very little welding. So
Right.
I make some tools. That's when I do most of the welding. Actually, I have a shoe horn, or it's called a shoe anvil, and it doesn't come with the socket. I don't have any sockets for it, so I think my next project, I'm just gonna weld sockets for my shoe anvil. I'm gonna try to make some shoes too.
That's super cool.
Really?
Yeah.
So, just a second ago, or a little bit ago, you were talking about how you started making longer swords, like swords. You made a rapier and stuff like that. So on the show, you made the knife. It was about like 14 to 16 inches, right?
Right.
So what do you think is easier? I think obviously, self-explanatory. The knife is going to be easier, but is there like certain things that are really complicated about that, and then also with the sword, certain things that are really complicated about that?
I think the sword, anything that's longer than like, I don't know, 10 inches, there's just more chance for failing. Just picture, you have like a raw product, right? You hammer out a knife or a sword, so you're hammering it out. Especially me, I use unknown steel because I use like steel that people give me or that I barter for. And so you draw out your material, you're about to finish your project, and you're spending like hours and hours grinding, and when you're about 75% done, you find a crack. And if it's like a 5 inch knife, so be it. You start over. But if it's like a 20-inch sword, that's a lot of work that you don't get to
Mhm.
accomplish. And that's another reason I don't do a lot of Damascus, because it looks nice, and when you're about to finish it, you start noticing all kinds of delaminations and cracks. So it's just like, I think if it's just for me for fun, I'll try some stuff like that out. But if it's for a customer, I wouldn't sell that. I wouldn't want to do that because
You
there's a
wouldn't.
high fail rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
What
are
what is the biggest thing you've ever made? Like how long was it?
So I think I made like maybe 4 or 5 swords. I made a saber.
Okay.
I made the rapier. I made a katana. Well, it wasn't a traditional katana. It was kind of a hybrid.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I made I don't remember what the last one was. But I had to make my own forge for that. A standard forge where you're making knives, you're not gonna fit a sword. So
Right.
I I made it just custom to fit swords. I put an extra burner, and then I usually once the swords are done or the knives are done, I usually clamp them. I had to weld some stuff to the clamp to extend it, just so it wouldn't warp. But yeah, that's why I don't make them often, because it's just I'm not really set up for it. But
Mhm.
and for instance, my smaller forge, it's really efficient with propane. I don't waste a lot of propane. But if I use all the burners, then that's like 3 extra tanks I got to run. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do it, but I would I think I made one. Oh, I made a Peter Pan replica sword for my brother-in-law. It's pretty cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, but I don't make those often. Just every so often.
Just like a lot more work.
They're a lot more work. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I told you, if I'm making a knife, everything's in my shop set up just for that. But if I'm gonna make a sword, I got to start either manipulating everything really. Like I have to switch forges, so it's
Uh-huh.
just more easy to make knives. I'm set up
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Speaking of like your forge setup, I know back on the show when you were on the uh, Forge and Fire show, you were kind of talking about your setup, and I want to know like how far has your setup came from that point? Obviously you may have made it or bought it. How far has your setup came from that point on?
It's pretty much the same. There's been an evolution of it, but the only thing I could say that I've spent money on is I have a 2 by 72 inch grinder. That's pretty nice. But everything else is handmade. Oh, I upgraded my anvil at one point.
Okay.
I used to have I had a railroad track flipped upside down, and I welded a plate to it, and it worked okay. I actually gifted that to somebody. But I actually bought a farrier's anvil, which is really nice. And the forge is then the grinder. I spent some money on the grinder, but other than that, everything's pretty basic. And I talked to a lot of people about what it costs to like what's entry level, what it costs. Doesn't cost much. Throughout the years, had it not been for my grinder and my anvil, I would have had very little money in there. And what I really like to do is I really like to like trade for supplies.
Oh,
I
okay.
try to keep the cost low that way. So it's pretty low entry. I mean, you can go high end on everything. Some people have like $10,000 worth of machinery, and I think my grinder is probably like it was $4,000 that I spent. I'm still paying it off actually, but if you can get by with very very little bit of things, an Ingo grinder will get you there. I used to do my nice on Ingo grinders.
Okay.
Mhm. That's cool. Like that it's pretty easy to get into, like
Would
cost
would you guys
wise.
be interested in making knives yourselves?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
So
super
that'd be
cool.
sick. Yeah.
we've actually
Yeah, right.
we were talking about it before this, and we were kind of wondering like if we were to make a forge and like go about that, what would be the steps? Like how would we go about building a forge and like starting to make knives and blades and stuff like that?
Oh, it's super easy, man. Like you can build your own burner. It's like I bought a kit on no, it was on Etsy. I bought a kit on Etsy for $15, and it's pretty simple. Like it comes with a brass plug and a bell, and then a coupler, and then you just get a uh, you get a regulator that gives you enough heat. And I made my forge out of a hollowed out propane tank and mortar cement, which is for chimneys. And that really honestly didn't cost much. But that being said, and then you just get, if you don't have an anvil, you can get something hard, like you can get like a sledgehammer, turn it upside down, or sideways,
Mhm.
and you get a hammer, have at it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can like
Uh,
DIY most of it, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yep.
I was
'Cause-
wondering how hot. Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, I'm just saying, just like anything, you can go and spend all kinds of money, but this job or this hobby, it's really fun if you're really resourceful.
Okay.
If
Mhm.
you're a resourceful person, you can make it. You can make it happen with really little money.
Yeah. I was wondering like how hot do you have to get the whatever you're forging? How hot do you need to um like
Get it?
get it to like shape it into something you're looking for? Like
Yeah, so there, as a blanket statement, you could say 1600 degrees. You can manipulate steel, but if you're gonna do like forge welding or Damascus or Sanmai, you're probably gonna want to go to like 2200, and that's where you have to get a high pressure regulator. Because my first mistakes with my first forge was I got just a regular regulator for like the barbecue, and it didn't get hot enough. It was like I was having a lot of problems, and I was like, man, I'm like hitting this metal so hard and it won't move. Oh, and that's another thing too. It's not just like you heat up the metal and you pound it as hard as you can. You actually, it takes some finesse. So that's where the learning curve comes. You learn how to strike, and but temperatures is the main thing. You have to hit an optimal temperature. And that, luckily, I think you guys are in California, so I am too. So luckily here, we have lots of good weather, because on cold days, I have a lot of hard time working, because you dry your metal. It's 1600 degrees, which you think would be really hot, but the atmosphere draws down the temperature so fast. So I
yeah.
actually have to have a blowtorch, handheld blowtorch, and I have to heat up my working surface a lot so I don't lose temperature. But I was thinking to myself, if the people that live in the East Coast, I don't think I wouldn't work in the winter if I was them, because it'd be too hard to keep things hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were watching one of your videos and you were talking to someone, I forgot who. But you said one time you had a little bit of an accident and you like burned your hair off.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
Oh, that was a one point where, because I was really conscious of the cameras, like I was telling you, and at that point I was like, what would it look like if I just walked away? I wanted to quit, because it was like it wasn't just, well, actually, to tell you the truth, there was no pain involved. I smelt burnt hair, and I looked over because the blacksmiths are stacked four, and we're only like 5 feet apart each person. So I looked over and I was like, "Hey, I think this guy burnt himself." So I looked over. I was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he said, "I think it's you." And I combed my hair over, and I looked down. I had a handful of hair,
Oh
and
man.
yeah, and I was like, you know what? I was already having problems, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna quit because I think I'm bald at this point. But the
Oh
funny
my
part
gosh.
though is later on I had the tongs in my hand, and I wanted to hit the dimensions correctly. So with a ruler, I drew 14 inches on the ground with chalk, and I reached down to measure the piece I had, and I accidentally touched my forearm with the tongs,
Oh.
and I burnt myself really bad. So then
Oh
then
man.
I called the medics over, and I was like, they're like cleaning my arm out, and I was like, hey, do I have any hair left? He said, yeah, you're fine. You still have hair. But
That's
I didn't care about the pain. I was like, man, I'm gonna look so crazy on camera.
that, that's crazy.
Have you, besides that, have you had like really serious injuries while forging?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. The most I've ever been hurt at my own house, I was making a wind chime, and I cut little slits so I could string up I think I had like 1 inch pipes, and I was just stringing up the pipes, but I was using a little Dremel tool, and then I was finishing it off with a tiny file, and it's really monotonous, and my hand slipped and I hit one of the notches in my knuckle, and I couldn't close my hand for like a week. And I was like, come on, of all things, I got hurt making a wind chime.
Dang.
But nothing serious. No, I mean, every so often, metal flies in my eye, and at that point, you just don't panic, and I come inside and wash out. But never been anything, nothing serious.
Yeah.
I have a like pretty crazy story. It was like in ag.
Oh,
we were
my
we were.
God.
I'm not gonna say the kid's name, but we were like grinding. We had to make like a cowbell. Like we started with just a piece of metal, and we have to bend it. We have to do all that. But he was at a grinding wheel, like a little wire wheel, and he was just going at it, and then it catches the triangular like cowbell, and it catches and it flings it to the wall, and it shoots it right back at his head. And I mean, it was bad.
He had a fat bump
He had
on
he had
his
a
head.
goose egg on his head, probably about like, I don't know if you can see it that well, but it was pretty big, and it was like protruding out far. And he was like, he looked at me, he was like, "Am I bleeding?" And I was like, "You're not bleeding. Hey, let's go." He was like, "To the bathroom real quick," and he was like, "Okay, okay." He was like, so he could look at it, and
Yeah, I bet you was shocked.
oh, he was super shocked. He was like, "That's crazy." He wasn't bleeding. There was no blood. He was just a fat goose egg. I mean, he went to the teachers. I don't even know if he had like a minor concussion or anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were both just shocked
Yeah.
from that.
I
And
think
it's kind of scary.
I think I might have an even more crazier story. So we were using the oxyacetylene booths, and I was doing whatever. Like it was like the training stages, and one day, my buddy accidentally like cranks up the fire. What is it like? Spigot, like where you turn it on, cranks it like all the way up, and
So it's like a blowtorch at that point. Basically.
yeah. So he like sparked it, and it started, and it flamed up, and it caught this girl's hair on fire. And
Oh.
yeah, luckily it wasn't too bad, so we were able to put it out. But yeah, it was like some crazy. It was during the ag mechanics class that I was telling you about earlier that I took. He took it as well. It was in the same shop. So yeah, but the girl's hair got cut on fire. So that's it was a kind of a bad day for her, but definitely not as bad as your day with your hair.
Well, yeah,
She was
actually,
on.
I'm really scared of the hair thing too, because I always work with a hat. I always have a hat on when I work.
Yeah.
But when I showed up, I had a hat in my tool. I had a tool bag, I think, that day, and the producers were like, "Nope, no hats. You did because you had to get your outfit pre-approved." And I was like, "Oh man!" So that was one of the things that really threw me off, because I always have a hat on, so I was just like, I never think about protecting my head. So
Yeah.
yeah, but you know what? Actually, the scariest thing for me when I work is the buffing wheel, because I mean, honestly, like the fire doesn't scare me. I use the grinder to cut my metal. That doesn't scare me. But my final step is I use a cotton. And it's a canvas. It's a canvas buffing wheel, and every so often it'll catch and it'll throw stuff right back at me. So I work with a leather apron, and the impact doesn't hurt as much. But I'm always like, man, if it doesn't catch my leather apron, it's gonna hit me somewhere in my body and maybe cut me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about
I just tried. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just try to not concentrate too much on what could go wrong, because then I was like, I'm gonna get in my own head. So I always I listen to a lot of podcasts. I get in the right mind frame, and I try to be positive when I work. So so bad things don't happen.
Yeah, you don't want to psych yourself out.
Exactly.
Yeah, you think about metal flying at you, this is just like that'll heighten the chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you like? So you mentioned podcasts like before you work, or do you like listen to music or podcasts while you're working, or do you need just like a clear your mind, like nothing?
I need podcasts. I like a good podcast.
What's your
Music.
favorite podcast?
I really like This American Life. I listen to WTF with Mark Maron a lot. That's probably my favorite one.
Okay.
But music, if I'm not in a good mood, if I'm like mad or sad, I'll do music.
Okay. Yeah.
One time my wife called me on the phone. She didn't know I was working back there, and she goes, we have a driveway that looks like an alley, so sometimes homeless people, they'll hang out back here.
Oh.
And then she calls me and she's like, "Hey, I think there's some homeless people fighting in the back." So I paused my music and I started looking around. And then nobody was there. And then I put my music back on, and then she's like, "Oh, they're back!" And I was like, "Oh, it's my singing." I was grinding. I couldn't hear, so I was just singing at full volume.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she thought it was homeless people fighting.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
but yeah, a podcast will, and actually the podcast helps a lot because I keep track of time that way. Because
Mm.
I'll do like a block, 1 hour block at a time, and then I'm just like, okay, I could do like 3 podcasts, 3 hours. Just like, oh, before I'm talking to you guys, I was working and I ran way too late. I actually had to rush and stop what I was doing because my headphones died and I just kept working, and I was like, oh, dude, that was like 3 hours, I think it was, and I only had 2 hours to work, so I went over an hour.
So one of my questions were, so as a kid, most kids kind of get fascinated by knives and blades and stuff like that. We find it really cool. So I was wondering, as a kid, or just in general, did you really find knives fascinating and you fall in love with knives, or did you start forging first and then through that, you start forging, then you started making knives and then kind of fall in love with that?
No, I was just like you guys. I always like knives. I don't know
Okay.
what it was about it, but always into knives. Actually, got in a lot of trouble. I would always find my way to get in trouble with knives. As a matter of fact, I started brand new junior high, 8th grade, and some this one person, he asked me if he put stuff in my locker, and I was like, okay, I don't know anybody. I'll take a friend. So he put his shirt in my locker, and like fourth or like right before lunch or right after lunch, I forgot. A police officer handcuffs me in math class, and I get taken to the front office. This is like my first day, and I'm in the office handcuffed, and I guess the guy had a knife in his shirt and he put it in my locker, and I think he stabbed. I don't know if he stabbed somebody. I don't know the story, but I mean, for a whole week, all the kids thought I was tough.
What
It
grade were
was
you
just,
in?
8th grade.
I was in 8th grade, yeah.
That's
But I had
Dang.
a tough reputation for like a week, and then people were like, "Oh no, he's just some kid."
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
but
Oh my
I swear,
gosh.
knives always got. And then like when I was younger, knives were kind of associated as a bad thing,
Mhm.
and so I went to college and I studied art. I had nothing to do with knives. I would always carry a pocket knife though, and I did like painting. I did ceramics. Studied welding a little bit on my own, and I was like, you know what? There's a way to fuse all this stuff together, and I was like, why not make a knife? Why not? I love knives.
Yeah.
And then from there, I took something like that was associated as bad or dangerous, and I turned it into something really nice. Like honestly, like it's been kind of all about knives for me the last few years, and it's been good. It's been positive.
Mhm.
Super cool.
You mentioned art. I see like being a blacksmith and making your own like knives and stuff. That is a form of art, especially
Right.
when you like do it yourself. You're putting your own twist, your own spin. It's unique, you know. So in
Yeah,
a
I agree.
sense,
But
that is
not
art.
not everybody agrees though. Is the part.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when you kind of have to, like I always would convince people about
Zane.
what how useful knives are, but then you have to also pick your audience, I think.
You do,
Yeah.
you do. People think different things.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like a question I just asked, like, what did you find interesting in the knife, or did you start forging first? How old were you when you started forging, and was that like something you kind of started on your own, or like did family influence you? Like, did you have parents or cousins or someone who forged and then they got you into that, or anything like that?
Oh, I don't remember exactly how old I was. I think I must have been. I think I just turned 30. I just turned 40 now, so it's been like 10 years.
Okay.
But yeah, no influence. I was watching a YouTube video and I saw a guy make a coffee can forge to make a foundry. And then I was like, he made it with a coffee can and plaster of Paris. And then he used a tiny little handheld plumber's torch. And I was like, well, I got everything except for the torch. So it really it cost me like $20 to make it.
Oh wow.
And I think I got a piece of rebar and I put it in there and I just smashed it. And I mean, honestly, it was like ugly. And I didn't even know that rebar couldn't harden because it's a mild steel. But yeah, from there, I had a surgery that year, so that was like my first time as an adult that I had free time. So and then I just picked up a weird new hobby. So I was like, I just went full in, did all the research I could, but the bad part about my little hobby is I had really nobody to help me out with, so
Uh huh.
I had to be my own resource this whole time. So
Yeah, you're like
it would have been
fully
nice to have, yeah,
you're like fully self taught, huh? I mean, aside
exactly,
like
yep.
with the help of like YouTube.
YouTube and also Forge and Fire at the show. That's
Yeah.
how I learned.
That's super cool.
I mean, you were talking. I saw it on your Instagram. I saw the clip. I forget who you were talking to, but you were talking, and you just like were talking about how easy forging is because it's really DIY. You know, you do it yourself, and you don't really need much materials, or like you don't have to have the most resources. So I found that really cool that you could kind of just start from wherever and work your way up.
Yeah, like for instance, my advice for you guys, if you want to try it, I would say you're not gonna make a perfect knife right away. So I just make small, improvements little by little.
Mhm.
I mean,
Trial and
you might be that rare talent that's like really good at making knives. Who knows? But it's not hard to make one. It's not hard to try to start. It's very hard to be good at it. So but anybody can make one. I fully believe anybody can make one.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
trial and error and practice.
Yeah. I mean, you
Yep.
don't sometimes, you'll get lucky and you can be really talented, but over time, I think with like all things in life in general, you kind of have to learn like throughout you go or throughout your life or throughout your sports career or whatever it is, as you go, you learn and you take this, or you don't do this and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Find what you're good at, get better at stuff. It's all a process, one long journey of getting better.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty young. Do you guys carry a knife with you?
Not like normally, but I do have some pocket knives. Yeah, I have like two.
Oh, okay.
My grandpa got me. It wasn't a pocket knife, but he got me this super big. Probably like it's probably like 8 to 10 inches, but it's like a super big hunting knife. He got it for my birthday, and
Oh,
it's
cool.
pretty cool. I don't really have like a reason to use knives. I don't really go hunting or anything, or I don't really ever need anything to cut like a box or something. But I do have I do have katana in my room, but it's
Yeah,
not.
actually.
Yeah, it's just my dad. Some random day he was like, "Hey, I have a katana for you," but it's totally like unsanded, not painted, no designs on it. It's kind of a it needs to be treated for sure. It's a little wobbly. I mean, I don't use it, so it doesn't really matter if it's wobbly or not. Um, and then uh, I have nunchucks. Um, and then yeah, but I have a couple weapons just for show though.
Yeah. I don't really like carry one on me. In special occasions, like this past weekend, I went to my friend's house and we're out building because we made a fort and we made a fire and stuff around there, just being kids. And we're working on actually a cabin right now, so we're building that. And like in that point, I carry a pocket knife on me. It'll just help me cut things. It's a line of defense. I mean, if it ever comes to that, but I don't really carry one on me usually. I don't really like see the need to. But I think it wouldn't be. I think it would probably be smart to just in today's day and age to maybe start carrying one or at least have some form of protection. I mean, I know we all are martial artists, but still,
Yeah.
it comes down to it.
Yeah. I have a couple pocket knives like around the house, or like the little razor ones that you just like flip out. But
Yeah, I
I
was
don't.
just curious because I don't carry them all the time for work. I'm not allowed to, but oh, I miss it. I'm always reaching for my pocket and it's not there. And I've never used one to hurt anybody, but as a tool, I like at least knowing it's there. So for me, it's kind of like I'm still trying to get my mind thinking, it's not there. So I actually put a screwdriver in my pocket, like a little tiny screwdriver, just to know that I have a tool with me. But yeah, I mean, I was just curious if you guys carried a pocket knife.
Yeah,
Have you ever done like messed around or played with like one of those fake butterfly knives? So you
Oh
flip it
yeah.
out and like
Oh
twirl
yeah,
it. You know,
really cool.
they're nice. I haven't done that
Yeah, I
in a
I
while.
bought one so I could take it apart and see if I could make one.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really don't do is like, for instance, I don't make a lot of Japanese knives because that's not my tradition. It's not my
Uh-huh.
heritage.
Yeah.
And the balling song, that's like not my heritage. But I'm pretty sure just by the one I took apart, I'm pretty sure I could make one. They're not that difficult, but they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're neat little pieces.
Do you
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, I said also, a lot of bowling songs, they're like daggers. And I don't make
Mhm.
daggers because that's like a felony. You can't carry a dagger in California. So
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I try my best to, abide by all the rules I can.
yeah.
Even like that. I also I don't make pocket knives because I that's just not my favorite thing to do with all the little mechanisms. So I make full tang, different variations of full tang. But yeah, that's what I like to make.
What's gonna be like the biggest difference between like a dagger and a knife? Is it just gonna be the length?
No, no, no. The dagger has an edge on both sides.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so that like you can't justify because you could justify a knife as a tool, but a dagger has one purpose and it's only to stab.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that you can't justify that being a tool.
Yeah.
Okay. So is like the rule like you can't like have a weapon that has two edges? Is that the rule?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it,
you can't do that, and you
Okay.
can also have a spring assisted knife, like
oh, okay,
Mhm.
the
One of
one
you
that
know,
those.
like
flips out.
exactly. Yeah, you can't carry those either.
Okay.
It's good to know.
Yeah,
Yep.
seriously.
Um, Another one of my questions. So when you went on to Forge and Fire, the show, obviously, you chose and you got the railroad spikes, yeah, and you got the mini cubes, right? And
Right.
I remember you saying like, oh, it's gonna be hard to stack these. So one of my questions was, uh, what metal or like what type of steel or anything were you looking for? Was there like a type of metal that you're like, okay, I want to get this because I'm really good with it. I could create a knife really easily.
I didn't really care because I wasn't experienced to know what metal would have been best. I just know if it would have been a solid piece, that would have been better. Because what you had to do for that challenge was consolidate three pieces into one, which is pretty hard. But
Mhm.
they gave me like six, seven pieces to consolidate into one, and I messed up because I stacked the cubes like a Hershey's bar, like
Yeah.
on the side, and
Oh.
I didn't think about it. So what I did was I made so many voids, I squished them all apart, and so had I if I can go back, I would stack them all end to end like a big like a Lego, like a big tall Lego, and then I'd squish it in the press. But I you didn't have time to think. I had to
Yeah.
Oh, you
make
gotta
as
think
fast as I could.
fast.
Oh, actually, I remember too. What the other thing I did wrong was I each individual cube I grinded every side. So because when you start heat welding or forge welding, they have to be clean. You can't do it with scale, so you got to take the scale off. So I was grinding every individual side, and it took so long. So if I could go back, I would just do each side that I'm gonna stack, and stack it there. But it's easier to do it when it's all done, right? Like hindsight's 2020,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Thinking back on it now, when you're
right?
not being pressured, it's way easier to think about a plan.
So he was saying how you were stacking like the metal but with like Hershey bars.
and then you ended up grinding all sides of it.
Yeah, I just didn't manage my time right because I there's just there's a lot of things I knew. They had the grinder I was using at the time was like a 1 by 30. It was a little tiny one. They had like a professional one. I didn't know how to operate it. And then they have these hydraulic presses and they have a pneumatic hammer. And I was just trying to hurry up to use those. I've never used them. I really wanted to use them. But yeah, it's just like that's another reason I told you if I go back, I know how to manage my expectations and how to work those tools. It'd be nice to
Mhm.
do it over.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was asking you guys a question. What got you guys into doing podcasts?
So basically it's kind of a long story, but long story short, we had this like character club at this super small school over here, and at first it just started with workouts and stuff, and then we started having character talks. We were doing a lot of character talks, like probably at least 2 hours a day, like every single day.
Mhm.
We'd get a character talk from our mentor Sebastian. Um, and so eventually, like kind of going into eighth grade, and I'm skipping parts. Like there's a lot to it. Devin could explain, like, cause he was in it longer than I was.
Yeah, I mean, like the character talks eventually branched into philosophy,
Yeah.
financials, and it just kind of branched out into all these other things. And we started reading books and learning about the stock market and crypto, and it all kind of met full circle, I'd say,
Yeah.
to where one day we were just kind of offered gear for like it's like not the gear we have now, obviously, but it was just like little cheap gear for like a
beginner,
podcast we
like
could
beginner
run,
stuff.
and it could be shown to all the other after schools in our area, and that's originally how it started. And then I mean, so we spent like a whole year practicing, and
I mean, eventually, it was just like a kind of like you guys may never use this, but like here you go, and then like we kind of just turned it into something, implying and like putting everything that we've learned about the stock market, about philosophy, things like that, and we just put it all together and we created that to where we'll talk about many different things. We'll talk about the stock market, we'll talk about sports, we'll talk about manners maketh man. So there's many different things, and we kind of just put it all together so we could kind of help the new generation, which is severely in need of it, and we want to push it and bring back good ways of life.
Yeah.
Essentially.
and we just
Yeah, I asked because I've heard some of your guys' content's pretty good, and I was like, I wonder what made these guys start doing this.
Thank you.
I mean, and at the time, like podcasts were blowing up, like uh, media, like podcasts were becoming like one of the biggest way media was spreading, and I mean, if you're gonna hop on that, might as well make it like a good message for people to hear, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just like we like BS around sometimes and like, make jokes, but our main message is definitely to help out like other people. That kind of drove us to where we are today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, we have this little saying. We're trying to, obviously you had like the first Renaissance and stuff, but we're trying to push this second Renaissance. Kind of like the first one where things changed. We went back to the old ways that were pretty good. So yeah, it's
Revival and
just this saying that we're trying to get out. We'll probably like come out with like merchandise at some point. But yeah, that's kind of what we're pushing. But our whole 8th grade year is the time that we were practicing, like just getting better at talking, having conversations, being able to articulate on stuff.
Yeah, and we spent like a whole year just like getting prepared for this.
Yeah, and during that time, we were like, oh, it's going to be super cool because a kid podcast talking about character, like, where do you ever see that? And then other kid podcasts started showing up. And it's like, oh my gosh, we were doing this. We were training for it. But then these guys just, they just got it earlier than us.
They beat
And
us to it.
it doesn't mean that, like, it was only because we were at the school. And
we were
didn't,
also given a lot of like restrictions and other stuff at the school, which is kind of why we eventually moved like to our little studio that we have now.
Okay, but you know what? There's room for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
I know when I started making knives and I realized I wasn't very good. I was like, oh man, I should just quit. But you know what? Some people like my knives a little more rustic. Some people like those, so there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah. Wait, are you done?
huh? Well, I mean, I was gonna say it's like with just practice, you'll get better.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, it's a long journey. Nobody's like necessarily perfect, but with time, you'll get even better at it. So
Yeah. Now, like, kind of swinging that question back at you, why did you kind of start your podcast? Was it to talk about, like, your experience with forging, making knives and stuff like that?
Well, honestly, I just really like podcasts. When I worked, my previous job, I worked all by myself, and so I would have, my headphones in, and I would probably get through like 8 hours of podcast through my whole workday.
oh wow.
And now that I drive the bus, I can't listen to podcasts because, I mean, the bus is so loud, the kids are so loud, I couldn't pay attention. But on my free time, I listen to lots of podcasts. So, like when you guys asked me, I was like, yeah, I'll talk to somebody for an hour. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like conversation, just sharing stuff about what you've done and what we've done, like what inspired us to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Podcasts.
and what I really like to do is, and I explain this to my customers a lot, is I explain my intentions and I explain to them why I do, because it's like at the very end of the day, what I make can't be a weapon, and I don't do it the wrong way. I do it with the right intentions for the right people. Also, like that's another reason I don't take on a huge amount of customers is I like to handpick people that I want to make them for. So, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just like that's why I asked you guys why do you do that, and I can easily explain to you guys why my intentions are. It's just I like to make something that's art, but also functional. And in 100 years, I'll be gone, but somebody will be cutting with my knives, and that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
It'll like carry on your history,
You let
Mhm.
the legacy.
your
Yeah.
legacy
Yep.
will live.
I mean, a lot of people like whenever they're put in front of a camera and like, with the podcast, like I could speak from experience. Like, if you look back, like our first pod, like I was super shy. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't really talk much. I think I maybe said like a few sentences that first pod, but like now I kind of came to realize that like it's not really about the camera. I mean, like when we do our own separate pods, I kind of just like don't worry about the camera, and I'm just talking to my best friends here. And like with you, like, okay, don't worry about the camera. I'm just talking to you. I'm learning about knives. I'm learning about forging. So like you kind of have to just put that side away and like not really focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it broke you out of your shell, and that's great, man. Like little by little, as you guys gain life experience, you'll break out your shell more and more. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I have like one more big question.
go ahead.
Should have probably asked this like way earlier, but what are like the differences between the steels and the metals? Because like you've mentioned Damascus a lot, and just all these other things. What is like the biggest difference gonna be?
So it's every metal has different characteristics, right? Um, Carbon content is one of the biggest ones. Um, so I like high carbon. I really like spring steel. It's known to be just very tough. It's very forgiving. You can make a lot of mistakes while making it. You can make a lot of mistakes while using it as an end product. But nowadays things are a little bit different. Like they have really good stainless steels now,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't work on those, so I couldn't tell you. But it just every every metal's constructed a little bit different elements and stuff. But for me, it's carbon content. If it has a lot of carbon, high carbon, it's usable. And like I was telling you, 1095 is another one I'm really familiar with. And like, there's just nuances. Like you could work it a little bit harder. You have to be maybe a little more gentle.
Uh huh.
Today I did 1094, just a new steel, and I quenched in water for the first time because it was a tiny knife, and it went okay. But I'm always like just tool steel is really easy to work with. 01, 02, but it's just high carbon and it's easy to get, not very expensive. But I
Okay.
like it.
Yeah. So just the makeup of the metal and how it's used and how you have to
Yeah,
work with it is gonna set the
yeah,
metals
and I'm telling
apart.
you, there are very little nuances that people like or dislike, both for
Mm-hmm.
makers and for users. But for me, I mean, there's some metals that are like O2 takes a really nice polish. You could really polish nicely. Whereas 1095, what I was using, it doesn't like to be polished that much,
Okay.
or at least from my experience. But yeah, I mean, as long and what I do before I work on any metal, if I don't know it that well, I grind it and check spark content. If the sparks are really complex and nice, it's usable, has a lot of carbon. Or if I really can't tell from then, I quench a little sacrifice piece and I break it apart and I look at the grain structure and I see what the grain looks like. If it looks complex and like durable, then I use it. If not, then I don't use that.
Uh huh. So it's all
Okay.
like mostly personal preference then at that point.
Yeah, and I'm telling you that the 5 years I practiced, I didn't have like a mentor telling me what's what. It was just trial and error, making
Right.
ugly knives. And then little by little, I was like, oh well, that metal's too hard to work with, not worth the pressure, not worth the time. And I learned what I did like, but a lot of it too was what's accessible, like spring steel, leaf springs. That a lot of people don't like them; they give them out, and I would trade for a lot of stuff. So yeah, I guess it's preference and what's easy to come by.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. So I know on the show you said that you're doing this for your wife and your son to show them that anything is possible. So one of my questions was, you've started to forge for a while. You're getting really good. Have you started to teach your son, or maybe even your wife? And if not, do you plan on doing that?
I always offer, but my son doesn't seem like he really wants to. My wife definitely won't. She won't do it, and I don't push him too hard because at the very end of the day, it's like you are standing in front of fire
Yeah.
and you're grinding with metal, coming towards you and stuff. So I don't push him too hard because then, like, I think if he gets hurt on my watch, then I'd feel really bad.
Yeah.
But if he ever wants to, yeah, I definitely be happy to teach them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, as like a dad, I feel like once you start to,
Can
learn
you guys hear me?
something. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just breaking up a little. I think we're good now.
yeah, we're good now. But like I was saying, as a father, you start to learn something cool like that, something really
Okay.
fascinating. I think that I would try to pass it on down to my kids, like if it's something good, like forging. But if they don't really like it, they may not be that interested. I'm not gonna force it upon them. So I think like where you're at, like if obviously if he wants to do it, go ahead. But if not, then I'm not gonna force him too much. I think
Yeah.
that's the perfect balance.
They tried their best, but they didn't really ask me like, "What are you interested in?" or "What do you want to learn?" They showed me a bunch of stuff, but it wasn't really like my option. And so I was like, you know what? Everybody wants to do things better and better, right? Like, so I felt like I give him options,
Mm-hmm.
and he picked what he liked. But like I said, if he wants to, yes, I'll definitely be happy to teach him, or even like people in my proximity, like friends, relatives. If they want to, I'd be happy to show them. But also, I'm telling you because I've gotten uh, so much out of it, but I also have to put so much in. I don't want to just force it down people's
Right.
if they don't force it on people if they don't want to, because it takes a lot of dedication too.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, like, there's always the option of getting hurt, so I don't want to make anybody do something that's gonna get them hurt.
Yeah, it's by no like stretch of the imagination not dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things like you got to kind of enter at your own risk. Like you may get hurt, so you kind of do that upon your own ability like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm putting it upon myself that I might get hurt rather than if you force it upon them, they're like, I don't even want to do this and I'm getting hurt now, so don't want to put yourself
Yeah,
in that position.
yeah, but definitely, like, I know you guys might run into this in your life. I've experienced a lot of gatekeeping, with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the stuff I've done. That's not gonna be me, but
Mhm.
you know, I actually have met some people that make knives like as a just a straight just a hobby, and I've given them all the expertise that I've learned. I'm so happy to give it to them. But yeah, I mean, it's like whatever you want to do. It's just lack of imagination. If you can imagine it, you can do it. Anybody can do it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Definitely.
You mentioned gatekeeping and like you want to share your knowledge. Another thing, going back to your question earlier of why we started our podcast. It's kind of late to go back to, but that was like another big thing. I feel like a lot of knowledge is like gate kept and it's not shared. And so like the knowledge of being able to forge, not like way too many people know that. So like spreading that knowledge, like having you on here to talk about your experiences and then us like spreading philosophies and other things. I think that's like one of the biggest reasons why we were influenced to do this podcast was just to not gatekeep knowledge and keep it from people. You know that
Yeah, I'm in
some
the same boat. That's exactly why I love talking to people.
mhm.
And you guys have a big audience doing this, so I was like, why not share that? But yeah, definitely people. I don't know why people are like that. I think a lot of it is human nature, but I don't
Mhm.
think that's right. Like if you have something, you should share it with the world. Why not?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So all my questions kind of ran through for the most part. Yeah. So I'm good.
yeah, I think I think I got through all my questions. There was questions that I didn't even have written down. The conversation was great. It was flowing really well.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I mean, we covered everything we wanted to talk about just by talking, you know?
Do you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
you have any more questions for us?
Or anything else you want to say?
No, no, no. I just happy to do this. And if you guys want to do this again, call me back.
Oh
Yeah,
my
It was
god,
fun.
yeah. We'd
100%.
love to do that.
Thank you for coming
All
on. I
right.
mean, this is a
All right,
great
guys.
experience.
Same
Yeah.
here. You guys
Yeah.
keep checking out your stuff, and I keep liking it. It's like
Yeah.
really polished, actually.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, we'll
Means a
we'll
lot.
Alrighty.
we'll for sure have to, hit you back up again and do it again. It was really fun, and maybe by then we might start forging ourselves. So, or
Oh
maybe
yeah,
maybe you have to teach us. So we'll see.
yeah, definitely.
All
That'd be
right.
cool.
Yeah,
All right.
thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you for
All right,
coming
guys.
on.
Have a good one.
All
Yeah,
right.
see ya.
You too.
See ya.
All right.
So, yeah, it was good pod.
Super cool guy.
Daniel Pantoja,
Yeah, shout out to him.
great guy.
It was
Shout
really
out to
fun
him.
talking.
Shout out to Forge and Fire. You get him back on. Let him have a redemption arc.
Hey, get us on.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us go in there as rookies with knowing nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero experience.
I'll be a judge. I want to be like that one judge who's like and gets to slice all the carcasses of like animals and all the ballistic
Oh.
dummies, and I'll be like, it will kill. That's what I want to be like. I want to be that judge. But
I don't
anyway,
know anything about it, but if it can cut, it can cut.
anyway, shout out to Daniel
Pantoja.
Pantoja.
and Shout out to Forge and Fire. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share it with everybody you know, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out.